of the mathematics and Yaz Hear Me Out with Bad Bunny. And again, if you're following along and you want to find Bad Bunny, you can go to my page or Yaz's, and we have her content, so you can just follow her that way. And then we'll link her at the bottom of the video as well. And so we're going to get back to some of our interview questions. So far, we've covered a couple of things, but I do have an interesting question. Is it just OnlyFans that you are also linked to, or do you have other platforms that we could find you on?
Okay, I'm actually going to grab my paper because I put them all on here. I really did. I'm like, I know I stuck it on here somewhere.
That's funny.
Let me see. I think I could probably just do it this way when I'm on my phone. So there's this new thing called Clapper, because I got yanked off of TikTok because,
Clapper?
Yeah, it's called Clapper. A lot of the, clap on, clap off. Yeah, no, it's more like anyone who is sick of dealing with the Karens on TikTok went over to Clapper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's Clapper, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, Fet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Can we go back to that? So you received a lot of, let's talk about the Karens. You've had a lot of issue with people having a problem with your content on different platforms?
Yeah, the stigma of BDSM, which is just absolutely atrocious. I actually called them out. I actually made, because I'll take a big black blank screen video or screenshot, and then I'll put letters on it. And I use TikTok for everything, and then I just screen record.
Right.
And I actually put it up. I said, who is running TikTok? Karen or the content creators?
Right.
It was yanked within minutes. They deleted my account. And even though I emailed them, they never gave me all or any of my content back.
Really?
Wow. Which is so crazy to me, because again, even you and I are both kind of on the same spectrum as far as like how we present ourselves.
Right.
Like I could definitely be a lot more raunchy, and honestly TikTok has not really, I can make better videos on there, but I don't, you see all the people who look but don't like, and it's just like we're very vanilla in comparison to what it could be.
Really? I mean,
I don't see anything that you do that I'm like, oh my God, that's real risque.
right.
I see a lot more vagina in a lot of other situations.
Exactly.
But as long as you're just a fitness model, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Or a sex therapist or an OB. Whatever.
Like it's all in how you market it. And as long as everybody's okay with it, meaning like me running down the beach in a bathing suit that barely covers my nipples and my vagina, that's acceptable because we're on the beach, and that's, you know what I mean? But if it's something,
I know what you mean. But God forbid someone knows their baby there.
Yeah, you're covered, but it's because of the connotation behind it that people get real uncomfortable,
right,
and start assuming things as well. So
we used to make fun, I made fun of, because back home there was a mall, and the way that the things were set up just absolutely killed me. I'm like, there was a lingerie store, and then there was a so lingerie store, and then there was a wedding store, and then there was a maternity store. I'm like, well,
there's a whole thing runs the gamut.
Oh, you crack me up with your stuff. Like you go into Home Depot and you're like, it says like the toy aisle or whatever.
My toy store.
And I'm like, when I do my intimacy workshops, where like, you remember the day that you posted like the Dollar Tree, like where it's all I'm like, that's literally how the people in the Dollar Tree by my house know me, because I'm always like picking things up and I'm like feeling it on my skin, like buying different things.
Right.
That's where the intimacy workshop starts, is from like stuff that's obtainable, that's not super expensive if you're just trying to explore a little. So I like that you're
spend a lot at a toy store.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
So what would be like the perfect relationship to you? What's your ideal of the perfect relationship?
Where trust, the foundation for a dynamic has to be built on trust more than anything else.
Yes.
That is why whenever I put an L on any of my things that I post, you're like, oh, so your first name is what? And I say it's Lisa, because it's part of my name because I will not lie. It's just not my thing.
Right.
So if someone does or doesn't like something, someone I talked to, he mentioned something, I'm like, it's okay. I was just responding. That's how I feel about it. And he's like, oh. So people get really like, they don't understand why I am open and why I speak the way I do.
Mhm.
It's like, that's how trust is built. Like, tell me what you're thinking so we can, build the foundation that to me is so important.
I think trust is
So-
everything. Communication is everything. That's
Mhm.
something that she and I always
Yeah.
talk about. It's like, for
Agreed.
me, the biggest problem in most relationships, because that's where a lot of my focus is when I do the intimacy workshops, it's really a lot of repairing relationships. And it's
Yes.
most of it stems from lack of communication.
Right.
And so a lot of times when we're not expressing what it is that we want and need, we're maybe expressing it in other areas. Like today's conversation was about cheating. People cheat because they don't feel maybe comfortable enough to say, this is what I need. But,
It's unfortunate. It is. And I have told men and women on Reddit more than anywhere else because they'll post what's wrong. Here's what's wrong. Here's how I feel. I don't know how to do this. And then everyone goes to the default. Like me, you have to talk to them. You have to communicate this with them. Well, I don't know how to say it.
Right.
So I have told at least, and I mean at least, not exaggerating, at least a dozen people, show them this post. Show them the post.
Right.
Just open the post and say, I really need to talk with you about something, but I'm having a hard time finding the words. And then hand them your phone, let them read your post.
Right.
And I've had more than one person, probably 3 or 4, maybe more, but that I can think of right now, that are like, that was so easy. I'm like,
it's funny that you say that because especially when when I want to be very vulnerable, so there's like we're talking now, this is very natural for me, but like when it comes to being really vulnerable about how I'm feeling about someone or something, because I've been hurt so many times that space is really hard for me. Is a lot easier for me to write it in a letter, and I will say to this person, like, hey, this is how I feel. Is harder for me to voice it, but I'm putting that
on paper.
on paper,
One
and
of my siblings is like that.
I would like for you to read it.
Right.
I can read it out loud, but my thoughts on paper are so much more articulate, and I'm able to reread it and make sure that's what I want to say. I'm very particular about making sure that the things that come out of my mouth are intentional. So I never like to insult people or whatever. And I think that what you're saying is very true. It's like sometimes we don't even realize how saying it, speaking it, but also being able to see that if you're putting it out in a public forum, then it's real.
Right.
And
it's important to them, apparently.
Also, that's obviously how you really feel too. So having another person see the intention behind what you're writing.
Absolutely.
Another great way of communicating. So I like that you do that, though, that you're like pushing people into communication as well. And not just like, here, I can solve all your problems with my sexy Bad Bunny outfit.
No, I just tell them, like, from experience and watching others, this is what I have learned. And I frequently and I actually had someone, he was a moderator of one of the BDSM community chats, and I ended up just leaving that community on there because he's just a creep. Yeah. I've seen him badmouth people and he's sworn at people, but I put 51F in parentheses. And the one lady was like, thank you for letting me know that, even though the moderator didn't like it, because he's like, that wasn't necessary. I'm like, really? Everyone's using pronouns. What is your issue?
Right.
But I didn't even engage with him because I don't deal with brats. So if he's gonna act like a child, I won't do it. But I will put 51 female in parentheses so that they know that there is an adult woman who has had some experience in life trying to guide them. I will not tell them what to do. I tell them, here's my 2 cents. And I literally put 2 cents on there, from what I've learned or from what I've seen. I've either lived it or I've seen people live it. Otherwise, I don't talk about it.
So did that stem from somewhere? Did you have a bad BDSM scene where like everything went wrong because of poor communication?
No. This particular person he actually is the moderator of a Reddit BDSM community. But when I was trying to explain to someone how to do something, he was like, you don't need to put the 51F in parentheses, and it just being rude. I don't know. He was just being creepo. But I haven't personally had any bad BDSM experiences yet. One of the questions I've noticed had something to do with letting something happen, or something had gone wrong.
Right.
Vetting is exceptionally important to me.
Yes.
Any and all things need to be talked about prior to play.
Right.
If something comes during play, if it's in my head, it's on my face. So the person can tell. When I'd been with for a very long time, this is how I knew I didn't like degradation kink, because there's a difference between calling someone a slut and saying come dumpster. There's a big difference.
Right.
And apparently slut doesn't work for me, because
Right.
he immediately saw my face change and he never used it.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
Yeah.
He's learning, which was great. You know, we're both the same age and it was cool. But it's
like calling somebody a naughty girl or something like
Yes.
that. Like I
Yes.
like those I like those kinky conversations. I love dirty talk during sex, things of that nature.
Oh, absolutely.
But within the limits of still feeling respected. Like I don't want to be you know, there's certain things that I'm sure you can relate to, is like where it's like just blatantly name calling. I'm not really like,
No,
that's not my
I haven't had to worry about it, but the one time, and then he noticed it immediately, because not all, most people in the dominant role read submissive as well, especially over, we know this.
Yes.
But someone I know had done something, and I don't understand. I just don't. I can't wrap my head around someone who says, well, I don't know how to communicate this to them. So if he is smacking you, you grab his wrist, you hold it, and then you, or whatever works at the moment. And then if he can't get a clue, you should be playing with him.
Right.
Yeah. I think body
So
language.
I had to do that once, and it only took the one time, because I just made sure that I let them know.
Body language is huge. You need to be able to read, like you were saying, facial expressions. I know when I'm using my tools and things for doing the intimacy workshops, I'm actually just teaching people the very basics in BDSM. But you know, that's one of the main things, is like, this is teaching couples to be in tune, mind, body, soul. So if you have sex with this person, you should, and this is like a regular person that you're intimate with on a sexual level, even in those situations, remove BDSM from it. You should be able to read what they like and don't like.
Right.
Based on
exactly
response.
Right.
So you know, add BDSM, like you need to be even more so aware.
Yeah. Yes.
So what is like your vetting process? Is that
I kind of took a list that I had used back when me and my ex were swinging that had all the different things that were important to us to have with the other people that we were going to swing with. And I basically just modified them for myself. And anyone who's like, let's meet and vibe, I let them know, well, we need to converse for a while first, because if we can't be on the same page with certain things, then there's no point in it. It's wasted time. And one of the other most important things is, right before I meet with someone, if and when I do, I let them know there need to be zero expectations. Zero. Like, we are meeting to see if we get along. It's not a vibe. It's like, can we communicate? And once in a while, you'll see my hands start doing things. It's because I know sign language.
We were talking about this.
So it's a thing. But if we can't communicate properly, then it's you know. Yeah. So it's those kind of things are important. People who pay attention. They have to be local.
Okay.
Have to be single. I've had now exactly 6 married men and 1 with a girlfriend try to have a long term with me because they just want something long term. I'm like, if you're not divorced or legally separated, stop.
Right. Okay. I like.
So I guess I'll leave you alone. Yeah, you can either leave me alone, or we can just converse about things. If you want to talk about stuff, that's fine. But we are not going to have anything.
And so
Right.
you would be like my type of swinger in the sense of, I've seen different dynamics based on like the environments that I've been
Mhm.
working in and had shows and things. And I'm, the swingers clubs and stuff, that's just not my scene. It is not in depth enough for me. You come across to me as well. Like I need to develop a connection of some sort mentally, be stimulated by you as well. I need to know that it's more than just, like,
Wham
it's-
bam, thank you, ma'am.
yeah, it's not enough
Yeah,
for
no,
me. Like
there's-
you can be an attractive person, and then as soon as you open your mouth, I'm like, I don't even resonate
It's
with
hard
you
no.
as a human. Yeah.
Right.
So for me, if I were ever in that position, and it's something that like my person and I have actually started talking about, it's not that I was ever closed off to it, but there's a specific way that I would want to go about it. Is
Mhm.
number one, I need to know that our relationship is stable and set before any of that even comes into play. I'm not going to start dating somebody and then start bringing other people into it. No, first I need to know that the main relationship is
Solid.
secure and solid, and I can trust
Yes.
you.
And there's a
Start
lot of
bringing
people who
in.
don't.
Yeah.
People pay attention to the fact that, okay, so there's bulls and there's unicorns. Not everyone titles themselves, but
Right.
usually a male will be a bull and a woman will be a unicorn.
Mhm.
But one of the biggest things is that there's a difference. And this is why I ended up making this list, because some couples just want a woman that they don't know, they won't ever see again, because the woman doesn't want to worry about her man developing anything for the other woman. And if
Right.
anyone does a threesome, whether it's 2 men, 2 women, does not matter, and someone took it wrong, and then someone who did understand the swingers lifestyle stepped in and said, hey, she's explaining it how it actually is, whether you like how she's saying it or not.
Right.
Because my words were, the third person needs to know their place. And I'm not saying treat them like a piece, because
No.
no one is.
Right.
Everyone has a soul.
Right.
Absolutely.
My point was, if they are with you in a hotel room or in your bedroom, they
Mhm.
need to know their place is over here, whether it's mingling or not. It's not in between. It's not on either side.
Right.
Their place is the third. They're not part
Right.
of the dynamic duo.
And that would be
And
like,
I appreciate that, because I've had friends that are in the lifestyle
right.
that whenever someone has cheated, no one else seems to be sympathetic and is like, oh, well, you're swinging, so that's
Yep.
like cheating. Swinging is not the same as cheating.
There's a lot of
because
communication that goes
We're going back to
on.
consent.
Yeah.
There's a
You
lot of
swing,
people
so
who
then
use
they
it as an
always-
excuse.
And that
Mhm.
would
Some
be
people
like
use
my,
it.
yeah, I was gonna
And
say that was my
poly.
biggest stipulation.
Right.
Yep, poly and swingers are the two that a lot of people now are using to cheat. They're utilizing
Yes.
those two
Right.
titles
Right.
to cheat because it's just easier. It's just
Right.
easier.
Yeah, it's a loophole. And
Yes.
I've seen that even in the clubs that I've worked in. I know people that go to that club, their wives don't even know they're part of that membership. They have
Mhm.
no idea,
Yeah.
and they roll bitches in all night long. And I just,
Aw.
that to me is not acceptable behavior. And that's not what and that would be a fear of mine, just based on my own personal experiences. That's when, like when we were talking about these,
Right.
in my conversation with my person, I was like, I'm not against it, but the thing is I've been lied to, where I was
Right.
coerced into doing like a threesome where they said, oh, I don't even know this person. And the thing is, not only I am psychic, so the other thing is I sensed it right away. And it takes me about 2 seconds. I can get right into that person's conversation, and I got her to admit to me within a minute,
Mhm.
and I don't want to be number one, I don't like being made to look stupid, but number two, like, it's not to say you couldn't have had that, just being honest.
Right.
So it's amount of, like, for me, I would want to know my foundation is secure. The other person understands, like, and that both people, this is not you doing something on the side, me doing, it's together. What we
Yep.
do is together.
And some have it set up to where the man or the woman will go off from the couple, do something with someone, and then come back to their other
Right.
I
person
feel like that's where
because
it's
they
dangerous.
like that.
You're
Right.
building
That's okay.
relationships, though.
But it's
It's
an
their thing.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of, that's part of their contract, whether they know it or not, because they're like, what do you mean a contract? It can be in writing, it can be a verbal thing, it can be like, you know your
Mhm.
shit,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Or wrong. You do it right or you do it wrong, and that's all there is to it.
It's true, but I
Yeah.
do think that anytime you start taking a relationship and you start inviting people in, it's a risk. You're inviting
Oh, yeah,
an
absolutely.
opportunity, and that would be, for me, I would say it would have to be understood that like we're doing this as a couple, and there isn't outside, like him going off and having sex with somebody while I'm not around. No, that's not going to happen. Just because I feel like there's a lot that can happen. You can develop really without meaning to either, you know,
Right.
you develop emotions, but if everyone's present, I don't know. It's
different.
it's a touchy subject, all of it.
It really
It
is.
is.
Also,
Why I
anything,
try to tell people, I don't know it all, but this is what I do know. I
Right.
have one guy
And
like,
you've experienced it and you live it, which
well,
is
yeah.
something that's
I'm
interesting.
but it's
Clapper.
funny that all alternative lifestyles they're so stigmatized and then try to label them all as one thing. And there's so
Yeah.
much of a spectrum
And it's very
that
individualized.
you really can't press the button and that's just one thing.
No, it's very individualized, and that's why
Open relationships,
Yeah, doesn't that
polyamory,
word,
polygamy, everything's so different.
the word
the
what?
word spectrum,
Mhm.
isn't it the most amazing thing?
It is. It's all encompassing.
It is.
It's all
Because it really
encompassing.
does help understand that there is a mild side to life
Mhm.
and there is an extreme side.
And we also have to understand that like what may be too much for, say, me is not too much for you.
Yep.
And we have to be, you know, when we put ourselves in, so we're already doing something quote unquote taboo, right?
Right.
And there are still things to me that I'm like, that is extreme. Like it seems
Mhm.
very taboo to me, those little things. But at the same time, in order for me to give the best education to another person or guide them for whatever might be right, I have to be willing to listen and open my mind, that just because it makes me uncomfortable does not mean it's wrong either.
Right.
That's what I tell everybody. I'm not judging. I just don't,
Right.
it's not for me.
But we
That's
all
all.
have our limits, you know, and that's
Yeah.
where like the communication comes in. And I think that you've done like a really good job of like explaining. We've kind of tackled two things actually, because you happen to be a swinger.
Yeah, I've had people like, well, I've been in the lifestyle X amount of years. I'm like, which one? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like,
Right. There's
BFM or swingers. I'm like, okay, so I did one that was just, I couldn't help myself. I'm in Walmart and there's all these pineapples and I'm like, yeah, I have to do this. And so I flipped one upside down and
yeah.
I put at the bottom, I'm like, no pineapples were harmed in the making of this video.
Who knew? You know, it's so funny
be
too. Like,
done.
there's all these little
Right.
things. Like I didn't know that if you like put a flamingo on your front lawn, that you were telling people that you were a swinger. Apparently that's a
Flamingo,
thing.
I did not know. The
I didn't know
upside down
that either.
pineapple.
Yeah, I literally.
We live in Florida. There are a lot of
that's right.
flamingos.
I just
That
learned
makes sense.
that like
Yeah.
flamingos
A lot of flamingos.
are used
See,
as
here,
invitation.
we're in Walmart, me and my ex, and he's like, should we get a pineapple and put it in the cart? And I'm like, not here, maybe
Right.
Albertsons, but not Walmart.
Not at Walmart.
Anywhere but Walmart. I mean, you'd do better to go upgrade it to Target.
So
But-
going back to sex, like what's one of your favorite positions?
Head down, ass up.
All
All
three.
right, like yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I think it's just because I don't know, as a woman done correctly, it really it just seems to stimulate all areas.
Very sensory.
Yes. And if
Yes.
the guy is good, I don't know if YouTube will let us say this, but the ball sack hits the clit.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it more like, and I've tried to explain to people, I even had a tape measure. I'm like, if you have too much, it's a problem for me. If you have too little, you can always work with it.
Yeah.
But
Size is not really a factor.
a lot of people don't look at it. I don't know, the other day, somebody posted a picture of a stretching cat on the top and on the bottom was a woman in the same position. And I had to comment. I actually put on there, some people would say, this is my spirit animal. I couldn't help myself.
Right.
So is there
Yeah.
any fetish that you absolutely like despise, or not just, I know you talked about like the peeing and or
Scat or
yeah,
clothing
none of
and
that
any of that
stuff. But like, is there something that like you just, it doesn't, that you don't really understand, or it's like out of your wheelhouse completely?
I don't know, because I really have never wanted to take anything off the table because I learned more keeping everything on the table. But if the moment came and I was uncomfortable with it, and of course I waited till it was with the right person.
A good answer.
And he had asked me, what do you want to try next? I'm like, I want to try knife play. So he started researching it because he hadn't done it yet, even though we'd been in the lifestyle for decades.
Right.
So, and then he sent me the information, we went over it, and then I, again, later tried to explain to people that that's something you do with someone you have
A lot of
had
trust.
many, either multiple scenes
Yeah.
or a solid amount of trust with, one of the two. Yeah, because it's too dangerous not to. But no, nothing that I can actually think of. I'm sure someone would ask me something like pegging or something. And I've had several guys ask me if I would be into pegging. And I'm like, I don't think I'd be into pegging, but, and I don't know if if YouTube will allow this, but prostate milking, yes. So yeah, prostate milking, yay.
Mhm.
Pegging,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just haven't, I don't see myself in that position, although with another woman, yeah, but not, we obviously wouldn't be
That
in
was my
that
next
particular.
question.
Yeah, I
Do you
feel
play
like
with women?
I have, I'm bisexual, bi-curious. Yeah.
we admit to this being, we say hetero flexible. I really choose to, it depends on the human being. I'm really more
Yes,
driven naturally. I'm just more attracted to men naturally, but
yes,
it's not to say that I would not give, if I weren't in a relationship and the right woman came along, I wouldn't necessarily turn that option away without really like looking at that human.
Right.
yep. Yep, I did the same thing when we were swinging, and that's how we ended up with playing with another couple.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just kind of hung back and let me and her do our thing to kind of like get a feel for it and everything. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We're friends now, and it's been over a year. So
Yeah.
yes, I understand what you're saying. And yes, I don't just
Yeah.
anybody. It's not the same.
No, I'm very particular.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's one of your least favorite positions?
I haven't found one yet.
I like that. Naughty
Yeah.
girl.
I read that it said least favorite. I'm like,
I'll give anything a chance at least once, but if it blows out my back or and I'm all
exactly.
yeah, no.
Yeah, if I'm upside down too long, it might not work.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
no,
I would rather go into subspace. Subspace is better than passing out.
Well, and I know, like, as we're all getting a little bit older too, there's like a lot of things that I could definitely do when I was a lot younger, but
they're not as comfortable.
yeah,
As is.
no, the mobility and it's just not as easy either. So
That's why I do my
yeah,
I do work out in the morning, cardio at night,
yeah.
every day.
It's so yeah,
Yep.
I love seeing those videos too. It's so funny because I did a workout video too, and like a couple days later I saw that you had done one, and I was like, maybe the same guy is like hitting us up because it was the one where they wanted to see our asses,
Oh yeah, no.
and I was like, this is really not like, this isn't really what I do, but like enough video where they were like, would really like to see, and I thought it was funny. I thought I was gonna message you like, hey, are we getting the same people asking us to do
over the last, I do not know how long, I've had guys say, well, I'll be your cardio, I'll help you with your cardio, what kind of workout you doing, or I'll be your
let me help you stretch.
Guys will offer to help you with anything and everything.
Yeah, go ahead, help me with my cardio while I kick your ass, because that's pretty much what I do while I'm doing my cardio.
Yeah,
it's like a mixture of Jillian Michaels and Ty Bo. Back up, I need my space.
Do you have any advice for upcoming aspiring content creators?
Try to be yourself, try to be real. Kind of like I joke around about the whole I am a real girl, like the Pinocchio reference. Being yourself and being different. I've seen a lot of creators complain about wanting to do some things and not wanting to do with others. They really don't want to, have any communication with the people that follow them. But again, if you're only in it for the money, I don't know what to tell you, but if you want to be a real person and have people that follow you that genuinely like who you are and want more, that's what I like. So it kind of depends on their intentions too.
Right.
Yes. And I think, you're a little different, but like, I invite people. I'm not really one to sit there and message people all day long for the fact that I'm working physically in the day. But I do always, if you're really my follower and you really want to know who I am and what I'm about, there's places you can physically come
to see me
and see me.
Really.
And I will physically be there.
Right.
I know that that's not always like capable when you're doing what you're doing. This is kind of your bread and butter, right?
Yeah, more just my hobby. Everyone asks me about that, but I've been given the green light to tutor American Sign Language now. And so that's kind of my thing. Haven't really like taken off with it yet, but it's just because I am exceptionally busy, adulting
Right.
and making content. I mean, my biggest thing is when people are like, hey, can I have a video of this or that? Or do you show this or that? I'm like, what do you want to see? How long and how much? We're gonna go from there. And then if they send me money, I'm like, stop. And I will actually educate people, and I'm doing it on Reddit now. They're complaining that they're getting taken advantage of. I'm like, there is a place on OnlyFans for the creator to make, either the picture, the video, whatever. When they send it to you, they can put a price tag on it, agree on amount, wait for the price tag. Don't go
Right.
throwing them money until they put the
Right.
tag on the item.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to get screwed on there. It's not cool.
One thing that before we go, because this video is also coming to a close.
Okay.
Before we end, you had said something the other day, which I think is really important for anybody else who's creating content. And I wanted you to say it, which
Okay.
is, we were talking about how we get companies that are constantly trying to collaborate with us. And you said that the way to know if they are legitimately interested in collaborating with you to become, like, say, an influencer for their product. What did you say?
If they don't send you an email,
Mhm.
it's probably not legit, because I used to work in a law office, and a lot of people don't like the fact that I'm not dumb. And I will not play dumb either.
Right.
I can text it to you. I can send it to you here in messages. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, but I'm asking for an email because that is through the federal government. So
Right.
if they can send you something that because everyone guarantees you having X amount of followers or X amount of whatever. But
Yeah.
if they can't send it in an email, then it's not considered a legal documentation. And it can be a scam easily done. Easily. They could just be utilizing your face and your body for their product. And
Right. And
it's
I think
not the thing.
considering that you're, building a fan base and all of that, I think that when we're saying what would you give as a recommendation, I think that right there is really important information that, not everybody is actually legitimately trying to collaborate with you. They could just be trying to use you to, sell their products, but you're not getting anything from that. You're just
Right.
getting used essentially. So it's good, like that you said that. And is there anything else? First of all, tell us what your name is one more time so that people can follow you. We will link it at the bottom as well.
Bad Bunny 62391.
And is there anything that you would like to say before we close out our show?
Thank you for having me. This is like an honor. It's like a big honor for me. Like,
thank you.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you because it's people that can see what we're doing, and it's now starting. I was saying to her before we started the show that it takes perseverance to continue when you don't have anything in the beginning. It starts at zero, right? And you have to keep the vision of what it is that you're trying to do and never stop, even when you're like you're not seeing the results, because then all of a sudden now people are starting to hear us, see us, and they want to speak with us. So, like, you're the first, but a year from now, we're going to keep coming back to Bad Bunny,
right? Always.
You help get us to the level of success that we're trying to, and what we're trying to do is reach people in a way that, other platforms aren't. So
anything positive and educational is important. And that's one of the biggest reasons I was like, yeah, I definitely want to be part of this.
Knowledge is power. Yes. And
yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, ladies.
All right. We'll
Bye-bye.
talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.